I thought I was gonna leave y'all hanging. Nah, bruh. I ain't leaving y'all hanging. Part 2, you already know, of what if Zeus was Naruto's father or dad or whatever. And last episode, they were just getting finished up with the bell test. They won the bell test. Well, they passed the bell test. And Naruto. Then they went on some missions the next day. And then Naruto was so bored because let's just say they went on like 300 D-rank missions. And then Naruto said, "Hey Kakashi, I'm so tired of walking dogs and looking for cats and planting seeds." And then Kakashi was like, "Hey Naruto, what do you mean?" He said, "I'm tired of D-rank missions. I'm probably at ace rank. I'm basically almost stronger than you." And then Kakashi said, "We'll see about that in the future." And then he said, "No, I'm definitely stronger than you. Let's just put it that way." And then they were like, And then Kakashi was like, we could have a sparring match. But first, I will test you. We will go on a C rank mission. C rank. He said, "Okay, I will make it higher." And then Kakashi said, "Yeah, I'll make it higher. Just a little bit though." And he was really lying to himself in his head. And because when he asked, could they have a D rank mission, could they have a higher rank mission? They were going on the Tazuna mission, which was an A rank in disguised. He was an A rank in disguise. And by the way, thanks for the support lately. I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that y'all like my what ifs. Thank you, but why don't y'all show some love with the likes though? Cause that I'm just playing. But anyways, so we left. they was about to go on the Tazuna mission, and so they were walking, and then Naruto spotted the puddle, and then he was like, "Hey Kakashi." The Kakashi's like, "What's up? You spot that too?" And then the demon brother was like, "Have we been spotted?" And he was like, "No way, that is just a smear." And then while they were down in the puddle, they were like, "It's no way that he noticed us. He's just a smear kid. He's a weakling." And then Naruto pulled out his this sword right here, his lightning sword that he's holding in the picture, and he zapped the puddle. And then the demon's brother came out, and then he sliced them in half. And the demon brothers sent a chain at him before he could react, stabbing him in the arm. And then Kakashi was like, "Hey Naruto, you okay?" And Michiru was like, "Hey Naruto, you okay?" And then Naruto said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And Naruto he was kind of like, his arm was like hurting, and he took it out, and and then Tazuna was like, "You okay there?" And then he said, "Yeah." Then Tazuna said, you might want to get some rest." And he said, we'll be a while, so does anybody know healing?" Then Naruto said, "I do." But and then his arm was hurting really bad, so he started healing his own arm. They went to the boat, and they went to Tazuna's house. And and then Naruto stopped healing himself because it was no use. It was like a scar on his arm, and he was like, "Ah." And then he said, "I'll fix this up." And then when everybody went to sleep, he went outside. He did a backflip, and he said the magical words, getting struck by lightning, getting synced up in the air. He said, "Hey Dad, can you possibly heal this?" And then Zeus made like a blue, no, I'm gonna say a green lightning bolt and said, "Son, stay still." Then he threw the green lightning bolt at his arm, and it healed most of it. And he was like, "That's not a normal wound." And he said, "Most of it would have healed up." He said, "Well, I got hit by a normal chain." And he was like, maybe they put chakra in it? What did they do to it? And they were like, maybe it was a very strong thrower? And then he said, I don't know, son. But just know that that was very dangerous. He said, well, I'm still on that same mission. By that. And then he jumped on that one specific cloud that I hate saying. And he landed on the ground. And Sasuke was out there, and because he heard the lightning strike, as well as Kakashi. Then they just saw a lightning bolt strike again. Then they looked over there and they saw Naruto, and they were like, Naruto? And then Naruto turned him, and then Naruto went in the house, and then acted like he was asleep. And then Sasuke was like, who's that? And then he ran to Naruto's room. I looked in there, and then he didn't see nobody. And Sasuke was like, I think that was Naruto. I think so. He said, what is it? And then Kakashi thought, I don't know what is going on. And then he was like, maybe we just saw things. And he was like, but both of us saw it. And he was like, yeah, but maybe it was just like a shadow or something. He said, what could possibly be that tall? And it looked like it had hair like Naruto. And then plus, I saw his katana blade. And he was like, maybe, but we don't know. And there's no way Naruto got there faster than us. You know we're faster than Naruto. And like Naruto hit the dash, so he said, he was hitting the dash, and then he got there quick. And then Sasuke said, I doubt that he's slower than us. But yeah, okay. Then they were still outside. Then Naruto said, that was a close one. And then the next morning, Naruto got up, and then Kakashi and Sasuke, he got in Naruto's face and was like, hey Naruto. And then Naruto was like, yeah. And then he was like, well, we saw you last night coming from lightning. He was like, what are you guys talking about? And they were like, don't play dumb with us. And then they put a light in his face. And then he was like, this is not time for playing around. They smacked the light out of his face. And then he said, okay, now get out so I can change. And then they were like, yeah, okay. And he was like, get out. And then Sasuke was like, I know your tricks. And then Naruto just kicked Sasuke out with his foot. Not like hard, but lightly. And then he changed. He got his ninja outfit, and then he left. They went to the bridge. Well, they were like midway to the bridge. Then Naruto was like, hey Kakashi, you should start. And Kakashi was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, everybody get down. And then he did like a 360. He did like, let's just say it was like a backflip, but he did a 360 at the same time. And he said, lightning strike. And he sliced the executioner's blade. And then Zabuza was like, my blade, you will pay. And then Naruto was like, I won't pay. Oh, actually, I will. He said, here's some royal. And then he threw some royal on him and started leaving. And he was like, hey, I'm not finished with you. And Naruto said, I'm a way stronger opponent. And you can see that. And then he was like, what are you talking about? And then Zabuza released some bloodlust. And then Naruto was like, that bloodlust is nothing. Then Naruto launched a great amount of bloodlust. And Zabuza got shook. And then like everybody got shook. And then Zabuza's like, then he was like, Haku! And then Haku jumped in. Like, and then she released her bloodlust and was like, oh, so y'all think y'all can combine your bloodlust. And then he used greater bloodlust. And it was like insane amounts of bloodlust. And then they were about to back off. But Zabuza said, even if my executioner's blade is broke, I can still use it. And he picked up his executioner's blade, then sliced that Naruto about two, three times. And then Naruto dodged to the left, and then knocked to the right. Then right when he was about to go for the dirt, he leaned his hand so it like cut some of his hair, and then he punched him, and he was like, "Dang it, my hair!" And then he was like, "Hmm." He was like, "Hmm, okay." So that's how it is. He was like, "Lightning Dragon," and he walked away. The Lightning Dragon hit Haku and Zabuza, knocking Haku into the water, then knocking Zabuza onto a very hard tree, killing Zabuza with the impact of the tree, and then let's just say Haku drowned because she was never taught how to swim. And everybody were looking at Naruto like he was some type of monster. He was like, "Hey, don't look at me like that." And then he was like, y'all go. I gotta do something. Then he went in his mindset and said, "Hey, Karama, you wanna teach me some things? After this?" And Karama said, "Yeah, I'll be glad to." And then Naruto was like, "Yeah, thanks." Then he left, and Naruto is just walking, and then they they were about to complete the bridge because let's just say Naruto made 500 Shadow Clone, and they were about to get it done, and then they saw about 500 men. Well, 501 if you include Gato. Um, and then Naruto was like, and then he put all of his Shadow Clones back, and then he was like, huh, so it's more bad guys. And then he was like, "Hey Sasuke, give me a boost." And then Sasuke put his hand out. Then Naruto said, and then Gato was like, "Huh, what are you going to do about him?" Then he was like, "I'm going to kill you." And then Gato was like, "Get him." And then Sasuke flicked his hand up, and then Naruto kicked back, sending him some high air. And then he said, "Lightning Dragon, a barrage." He said, "A barrage." He said, "Lightning Dragon, a barrage." And then like 100 dragons came at all of them, slaughtering half of the men. Slaughtering half of the men. So now it's 251, I'm gonna say. That's basically half. And then Gato was like, "Ha, you think that is gonna scare me? I still have more men." And then Naruto said, "Hey, I think I got an idea." And then he was like, "Who's the strongest one here?" He said, "Except for me." He was like, "Hey Kakashi and Sasuke, go break that tree and put it right there tightly." And then Gato was like, "Don't let them do that. Charge him." And then they picked the tree right there really fast. And then Naruto jumped on and he started chakra controlling on it, running up it. And then right when he got the tippity top, he like launched in like a torpedo form and said, "Torpedo dragons." And then it was like small dragons with it wasn't small dragons. Let's just say it was like let's just say they were the regular dragons, lightning dragons, but they were going really fast. And he was like torpedo dragons, and then it was a whole bunch of dragons, including him, going really fast. And then they went on a side. And they killed all the men on the side. Then they curved in. And then Naruto hit the sword and Gato and said, And then God was like, you can't, I'll get revenge for you, for my men. And Naruto said, yeah, okay. And then as the dragons curved in, they made a big lightning explosion. And everybody was like, Naruto! And then Naruto came out unhurt because the lightning didn't hurt him. And then they were like, wait, what? And then they were like, how wasn't he damaged by that? And Naruto was just walking out and walking out and walking out. And he was bored. He was bored. And then he was like, this mission was boring. And then they were like, we still got one more piece. And then he was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He made one shadow clone, and then those two, and then the regular Naruto and the shadow clone picked the final piece. Then Kazuna said, I will name this bridge the Great Lightning Bridge in honor of you, Naruto. And Naruto said, thanks. He said, but yeah, thanks. How about the Great Bridge of Lightning? Nope, that one saw flashing. They were like, what are you talking about, Naruto? Naruto said, wait. He said, the Great Naruto Bridge of Lightning. And then Naruto said, that has a great ring to it. And then Kazuna said, yeah, okay. And Naruto was like, yeah. And then they completed the mission. And then they went back. All of them went back home for the day. And then Naruto jumped off his balcony, said the magical words. I'm getting bored of saying this, okay? He said the magical words, and lightning struck him, and he got sent up to the God realm. And he was talking to his dad. He was like, "Hey, Dad, so how will I save the world?" He said, "You have to save the world from a certain someone and some other evil people." He said, "Oh, Dad, I'm almost a teenager." He said, "You're just 10. You know when you're a teenager." He said, "I basically have 5 more years. Or 4, you could say." He was like, and then he was like, "Yeah, but that is 5 years. 5 years is a long time, Naruto." And then Naruto said, 5 years ain't nothing. And then Zeus said, you'll see. And Naruto was like, I'll see what, Dad? He's like, you'll see what you need to do in this world. A certain someone from a different realm, a bad realm, will come and try to take over the world. But then me and the other gods will take him down. With you, Naruto. Naruto, you are my son. You will take over my name as the king of the gods. And then he said, well, no, you're really not the king of the gods. He said, well, and yes, I kinda am. He said, yeah, you could count it. And then he was like, whoa, so basically you're the prince. And he said, yeah, I call myself that, so that makes me the king, and that makes your mother the queen. He said, okay, I get it. And he said, and that makes my. He said, and then he said nothing. And like Renato was like, what do you mean that? And then he said, I'll tell you when you're older. He's like, Dad, I'm done with this older stuff. Tell me now. And then Zeus was like, I can't tell you, son. And then Naruto, like, dang it, Dad. Then he jumped onto that specific cloud that I keep talking about, fell down, grabbed on his balcony, then went in his house. He went to sleep thinking about what his dad meant. He had a dream what his dad meant. And then he remembered when he was about 4. When he was about 4, some person came over. He pretty sure it was my dad's brother. And then he was like, my dad's brother? And he was like, tried to, I don't know quite yet, but, And then he got thinking about it and just said, I think I'm just saying things in my head and just, okay. And then he woke up the next morning and he was like, oh, I'm gonna do some. And then he said, oh yeah, I'm sparring Kakashi today. And then he said, I'm getting, I'm gonna beat Kakashi. And then he ran downstairs and he was like, lightning charge. And he was charging his foot up, and his foot was like glowing, or like a lightning color. It was glowing a bright white, you could say. Both of his feet were. Then he said, lightning speed. And he went as fast as lightning, or light, you could say. He went as fast as light. And he was already out the door. And then, let's just say they caught him. Like, they didn't know how fast he was. But if they did, he would be faster than the Raikage Minato. He would probably be called the White Flash or something. And Naruto, then he did the same thing he did in the apartment, and then he ran really fast as light, and then he knocked on Kakashi's door and said, "Hey Kakashi, I want to spar with you." And then Kakashi was like, Naruto, I was still sleeping, and then he was like, it's bright and early in the morning. He said, I literally just woke up, and I'm usually asleep. And he was like, yeah, that's because you want to spar with me. And he was like, yep, that's true. But I will beat you, and I will prove to you that I'm one of the strongest ninja here. And then Naruto turned his head, well, one of the strongest gods. And then he looked back up and he was like, Naruto, why are you doing that? And then Naruto was like, nothing. And then he said, meet me at the training grounds, and I'll go get Michiko and Sasuke. And then Kakashi closed the door. And he looked through the peephole and saw Naruto glowing white. And he was like, wait, Naruto? And then he just saw a flash before his eyes. And he opened the door and then he didn't see nobody there. He was like, maybe I was just thinking things. Oh. Then he yawned and went back to sleep. And then Naruto knocked back on his door with Sasuke and Michiko, and he was like, hey, get up. And then he knocked on the door. And then Kakashi was like, how could this be? And then he just saw it ticked off Naruto on the door, and then he just closed it back in his face. And then Naruto just broke his door down and said, come on, I want to spar with you, old man. And he was like, you went so far to break my door because you wanted to spar with me. He said, yep. And you got a problem with that? He said, you're going to pay. He said, all right, if I win, you're going to pay for that door. And he said, if I win, you're going to get me all the ramen in the world. And then Kakashi was like, what did I get myself into? I can't buy all the ramen. I can't buy all the ramen in the world. How is that possible? They said, I could have gone bounty missions and stuff to get all that you. I can't do that. And I would just ask Minato for the royal. He said he will understand. I can't. And then he was like, come on, Kakashi. And then they went to the training ground. And then Naruto said, Kakashi, you think you should outsmart me? And then he was like, what do you mean? He said, so you copied my shadow clones when we were there. And now, this is a shadow clone right in front of me, and you're underground. So get from on there. Then Kakashi climbed underground and said, how did you know, Naruto? And then he said, because I know that you're behind me. And then he kicked Kakashi, and Kakashi was like, what? And then Naruto said, and then he said, lightning style, lightning dragon. And 2 dragons hit Kakashi right in the arms, so he kept flying back a little bit. And then Naruto said, well, Rasengan. And like he made a, lightning Rasengan, hit Kakashi right in the stomach, blowing Kakashi back. Kakashi was like, Naruto, you are a good fighter. He activated his Sharingan. And he was like, now I have your jutsu. And he was like, your eye wasn't even on. He was like, how did you know, Naruto? Naruto said, I observed you really quickly. When your hair moved, I saw that it wasn't on. Then he punched him in the stomach. He was like, but could you see? He said, I know, you have a scar. And he said, And I also know about Obito. And then he pulled out his katana, slicing it at Obito. He sliced it at Kakashi. Kakashi simply dodged it, and then he said Shidori, and he knew the Shidori just from copying it um from uh from Sasuke, and and then Kakashi used Shidori. Then Naruto said, he said, hit me with that. Then he ran right into the Shidori, and nothing happened to Naruto. The only thing that happened to Naruto was like nothing happened to Naruto. But something did happen to Kakashi. Kakashi got blew back by the explosion that happened, and he hit a tree. He was like, how was he so strong? And he saw Naruto walking through the smoke, and Naruto, he was like, Kakashi, you don't seem so strong now. And then he pulled out some shuriken and threw it at Kakashi, but they didn't hit Kakashi. They stuck Kakashi's clothes to the tree. And then Naruto was like, should I? And then he was like, I should. He said, lightning style, lightning dragons. And like he was laid back on a tree while he was doing it. And then he grabbed the apple and started eating it. And then Kakashi was like, take me seriously, Naruto. And then he said, And then Naruto said, what do we have here? And then he pulled out the book. And then he pulled out the itchy book. He said, what chapter are you on? I would like to read this book. He said, 52? He was like, I should go to page 53. And then he started reading it out loud. And then Kakashi was like, Naruto, you're going too far. And then he broke out of the Sharingan, sending them back at Naruto. Naruto dodging every single one of them. And then said, you think you can. I just provoked you easily. And he did a 360 spin. And as he was looking away from Kakashi, he made a Shidori, turned, and as he was turning around, he hit Kakashi with it. And then Naruto did a backflip. He said, I know you're still in there, Kakashi. And then Kakashi came out. And then he was like, Shadow Clone. And then he hurried up and stuck his like the backside, like this side, the backside of his blade in like the handle side, and then stuck it into the ground. And then Kakashi was like, ow. Then Kakashi pulled his blade, but he couldn't, because right when he touched it, he started getting electrocuted. He was like, how does he withstand this high static? And then he put it out of the ground. He said, that only works for me. And then he made like a square shape in the ground, and he was like, hey dragons, dig right there. And then Kakashi was like, wait, what? And then Kakashi was trying to get out, but two dragons just dug him straight out, hitting him out, making him fall from a fatal drop. But he didn't die because one of the dragons saved him. Now I'm going to say it wasn't a death fall, but it would hurt. He hit the ground back first, and he was like, ah. And Naruto was like, so that is my opening. Hey, dragons, go right there. And then his stomach, and then the dragons hit him in the stomach, and then he got blew back into like a big crater that just made. And then Naruto was like, Kakashi, would you like to forfeit? Kakashi said, never. Then he did a 360, and he said, lightning style, lightning dragons, and it didn't work. He was like, what? And then Naruto said, you try to copy my stuff? He was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And he was like, and plus, you didn't even master it yet. Even though you mastered lightning style, you didn't master jutsu. I haven't fully mastered it myself. He's like, but you still know how to use it, Naruto. He said, I can't write it. It's not at its full capability. It's like a summoning, but it's also a jutsu. You're like, what do you mean a summoning? He said, just forfeit. And he was like, no, Naruto. And then he ran at him with the Shidori. And then Naruto simply dodged and said, I will cut your arm. Just please forfeit. This is getting boring. He said, "You owe me my ramen." He was like, "I'll still pay for the door though." And then Kakashi was like, "No, I will beat you." And then he was like, "Kakashi, stop getting stop getting over cocky." And he was like, "No, first you have to give me my Ichi book." Then he said, "I will burn this book to ashes." And he was like, "Fire style." And then Kakashi was like, "Okay, I forfeit." And then he threw the book at him. Said, "Come on, you gotta buy me my ramen." And don't forget about Michiko's Sasuke's too. And he was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And he said, "Since since 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 it's mine, and so I give them 3 bows each." And he said, "And I also get 3 bows." And Kakashi, since I'll be nice and give you 2 bows. I would have gave you one, but I'm not that mean." And he was like, "Please, just give me 3, Naruto." And he was like, "Why? Are you fat or something?" And he was like, "No, but I haven't ate nothing at all today." He was like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're that hungry." I was like, "Yeah, okay, 3." And then Naruto was like, "Okay, 3 bows." And then they went to Ichiraku. And then Naruto was the first one done. And he was like, and then Naruto was like, "Hey, Kakashi, another bowl." Then he ate the other bowl. Then let's just say he ate like 5 bowls. Now let's just say he had like 10 bowls, and everybody had. And let's just say Sasuke had 2, but he didn't finish the third. And then Mijiko had 1, and then Kakashi had like 4. Let's just say Naruto gave him some more because he was that hungry. And then Naruto was kind of bored. He was like, "I got an idea." He was like, "Guys, go, oh, gotta go do something." And he was like, and then he said, "Wait," and then they, and then Sasuke and Michiko got added to a group chat or something, I would say. And then they were like, "What, Naruto?" And then Naruto said, "Wait." Then he added Sakura and let's just say he added the whole school. It's like not the whole school. Yeah, let's just say the people who are in his academy or whatever. Then he was like, "Hey guys, you wanna have hey guys, you wanna have a sparring match?" And then let's just say that he all said no. And then Naruto said, "Wait, it's boys versus girls, so it won't be so unfair." And then everybody said yes. And Naruto was like, "This might be fun." Then he's like, "Then we go for teams of 3, and then it will be better." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And then they were like, and then he was like, "Meet me at training ground 7." And then they were like, "Okay." And then he waited about 10 minutes for people to get to training ground 7, and they were all there. Then Naruto said, who matches should we do first?" And then they were like, "Let's," and then Sasuke was like, "Let's do boys first, since you're always so pumped up." He was like, "That's what I thought." And then Sasuke said, "I want to go against you, Naruto." And he put on his blade. He said, I want to have a katana fight, and katana fight only." And he said, "Whoa, this katana holds lightning. So, if you want a katana fight with me, it will be a little bit of lightning. Let's have a katana and lightning battle." He said, "Sure." And then Naruto started off with lightning style, lightning dragon. And then everybody was like, "Whoa, what is that?" Then he sent some lightning in the dragon, making the dragon bigger, hitting Sasuke, knocking him out with 1 hit. And Naruto said, "Well, I win." And then let's just say it was Kiba versus Shikamaru. So Shikamaru used his like shadow thing, and then Kiba jumped up. But his dog, I forgot his dog's name, Akumaru or something. I forgot it. I forgot the dog's name. The dog was controlled, but Kiba was like, "Hey, Akumaru, snap out of it." And the dog actually did, because he knew, that was like his owner and stuff. So he would snap out of it easy. And then he ran at Shikamaru, hitting Shikamaru right in the stomach. Akamaru did that dog. And then Kiba said, double fang or something like that? Fang over fang. Yeah, I think it was fang over fang. And then he did like a spinning attack or whatever and hit Kiba. You know what I mean. He hit Shikamaru. Shikamaru got blown back into a tree. And then Shikamaru used his shadow possession and got both of them in the possession. And then he just knocked both of them out. Well, he didn't knock the dog out, but he just knocked Kiba out. And then Shikamaru was declared the winner. And then all the other boys dropped out because they saw how strong just Naruto and Shikamaru and Kiba just were. And then all the other boys dropped out except Lee and Neji. And so then it was Neji versus Lee. And Lee hurried up and activated his Byakugan right when it started, and then he used 64 palms. 64, and then he used 64 palms. And then he kicked Lee. Then Lee was like, ha. And then Lee ran at Neji, elbowing him in the face, then kicking him, then punching him. And then he did like a cool combo. And then Naruto was like, ooh, that must have hurt. He was like leaning back like, ugh. And then Lee was like, forfeit now, Neji, or you will lose. And then Neji was like, no. And he said, I will not be weak. And he said, I will not be weak. And then he said 64 palms. And then he was about to hit Lee, but he did a 360 spin to the ground, hitting the ground, giving him a momentum, then hitting Lee the amount of times. Lee fell to the ground, and Lee said, I will not lose. And then Lee was like, He was like, I should not use that now. And he was thinking about using the gates. And he was like, I have to use this. And you know that attack he did on Sasuke, I believe? Where he kicked him up, then wrapped him around, then kneed them with his back, or his back part of his foot. He did that move, and then Neji was like, yeah, I will beat you. And then he did 64 palms and did he did 360, hit the ground. Then he tried that again, but Lee was like, I know you're tricking Neji. Then he punched Neji in the stomach. And Neji was like, ah. And then Neji was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And let's just say he punched him so hard that made him have to go use the bathroom. Then they were like, well, I guess that means Lee is the winner. And then he was like, yeah. And then they were like, well, what is the matchup gonna be? And then Michigo said, well, I have an idea. Let's go Lee versus Naruto. And then, what's his name? Shikamaru versus Naruto. And Naruto said, actually, I want to go with Shikamaru first because he won first. And he was like, and then Michigo was like, yeah, that makes sense, Naruto. And then Naruto was like, yeah, let's go Shikamaru. And Shikamaru started off with shadow possessions. Then Naruto jumped in the air using his lightning katana to boost up. It was like a lightning gun, but it was boosting him up. But it was a katana. Then he shot some lightning at Shikamaru. Shikamaru got hit by this in the arm because he almost dodged it. Then Shikamaru was like, And then Naruto was like, lightning style. Dragon's barrage. And then let's just say this time it wasn't 100 dragons, it was 50. One of them hit Shikamaru in the left and then in the right, making him lean to the left and then lean to the right. Then they just kept doing that. And then one of them hit him in the stomach, making him fly back, hitting a tree. And then one more came, hitting him right in the stomach, making him say, I forfeit. And then Naruto was like, that was a smart idea, Shikamaru. I wouldn't doubt you have done that, because you're overall really smart, but I didn't want the match to end so fast. He was like, well, it had to end so fast then. And then he was like, that's not fun. Everybody else's was long. And then it was Naruto versus Lee. Then Naruto said, this will be fun, Lee. And then Lee said, yeah. Then Naruto said, okay. And then Lee ran at Naruto, and Naruto just punched him with one strike, knocking him out. And then they were like, wait, how does he have that type of raw strength? And let's just say all the girls there, like, looked at Naruto, like, they started fanboying Naruto, and then Naruto was like, chill out. And then they stopped. And then Naruto was like, okay, what's the girls tonight? And then, let's just say Michiko won all of them. I will only do, let's just say, 2 battles over. No, I'm not going to do none of them. Never mind. I'm not trying to go into details like that. Let's just say she won all of them. She won the whole thing. And let's just say they were both declared the winner. And let's just say they were called they said that they were the king and queen of it. And then Michiko started blushing. Then Naruto and Sasuke and let's just say Hinata caught it. And then Naruto smiled back at her. And then she started blushing hard. And then Naruto was like, you don't have to, And he didn't want to say it out loud, so I embarrassed her. And then she stopped. Then Naruto was like, well, bye guys. And then he started walking. Then he started walking off. And then Lee was like, and Lee was just, and Lee was like, and he was like, she is strong. And then Shikamaru was like, that really hurt. And then Sasuke said, hey Naruto, could you train me? And then Naruto said, hey Sasuke, I kinda have to go do something. I don't have time to train you right now, but yeah, I'll try. And then he was like, what do you mean? He said, well, I have to go train myself. He was like, why can't I come with you? Well, it's kind of private. And then everybody was like, what does he mean by private? And then Sasuke was like, hey guys, you wanna go sneak up on him? And then let's just say, Shikamaru said, I will come with you guys, but and then Michiko and let's just say Hinata and Ino, they all said yeah. And Neji came back and was like, hey, what's going on? And then they told him, and then he was like, okay. Then they followed Naruto home. Naruto sensed the presence. He looked behind him and saw nothing. He was like, Then he kept walking. He went to his apartment. Well, he went to his apartment building, and then they just saw him, like, lighting up, and then, like, lighting grew up, and then he dashed off the speed of light, and then they all ran. And they went up the stairs. Well, they went up the stairs and found his room. And then they opened his door, and Naruto was on the balcony, so he couldn't hear it that well because he was outside. And then they looked at the glass and saw Naruto, and they were like, hey, and then, let's just say, Neji found him. He was like, hey guys, I found Naruto. Then Naruto was like, I don't think I should do it today. He was like, hey dad, he was saying it, and he said, hey dad, when should I tell them? And he's like, and then you heard like a voice from there, and it was like, son, you should not worry. You will tell them when the time is right. He was like, well, what if I don't? He was like, yeah. And then everybody was like, what is he talking about? He was like, well, dad, I will go spar with you. And then his dad was like, hey, Naruto, look behind you in your house. And Naruto turned around and saw Neji peeking behind the couch. He was like, and he was just shocked. And then his dad said, Naruto, you will have to deal with that. How will you? And then he said, you're talking out loud, Dad. Be quiet. And then he said, Okay. And then everybody was like, Naruto, what are you just, who are you just talking to? And what were you talking about? He said, well, nothing. I wasn't talking about nothing. They were like, we clearly just heard you. And you were talking to your, I guess, father? And then they said, I thought your father was dead. And then everybody like, wait, are you lying to us? And then Naruto said, it's complicated. And then he was like, and then he was like, and then he was like, wait a second. He was like, I have to go do something. Stay here. And then he jumped off the balcony and said some magic words, and they were like, what the heck? And then they saw lightning strike, and he was like, hey, Dad, should I tell them? And his dad was like, yes, fine. He was like, but this is not the right time. People can't know. And he was like, you knew when it was the right time. And you knew they were going to figure out eventually. And he was like, and he punched. And then he punched the cloud, and it hurt really bad. Let's just say it felt like it was diamonds or something. He was like, bah! He was like, dang it. And he said, well, Dad, I will go back down and tell them. He said, this might shock her. And he was like, it might shock her, Naruto, but she would probably still like you. And then he said, I doubt it. Who would want to date a god? And then Naruto jumped onto that specific cloud, and he jumped on. He grabbed the balcony and he said, hey guys, I have to break some news to you. And they were like, what? He was like, you can tell the Hokage and Kakashi, but you cannot tell anyone else, or I will be having to kill. And then they were like, Naruto, what do you mean? And Naruto said, I probably won't kill, but this is what I gotta say. I am the son of Zeus. And everybody was like, stop playing, Naruto. And then Naruto said, what do you think explains the lightning? Or what do you think? Just explain me jumping off a balcony, saying magic words, and then lightning striking out. You think that was just a coincidence? No. Then they thought about it, and they were like, Naruto? And Naruto was like, yes. I'm the son of Zeus, and I am basically the prince of my father, and I'm basically a god. And then everybody was like, wait, does that explain why you're so strong? Because he said, actually, my dad has been watching over you, looking at your techniques, and then he trained me to him. He's not the best at the techniques either, so I have to train sometimes by myself to just get perfection out of them. And they were like, but Naruto, that isn't. And then they were like, isn't that kind of bad for your reputation? Because you kind of, And he's like, no, it's not, because even though I do get help from my dad, it's still training. Even though he looks at people, it's still training. And I need it. He was like, I know a couple new moves, but no, I just don't want to use them. Some people will say they're weird, and some people will say that I copied them for something else. And I don't know what to do anymore. Then everyone's like, so, you're God, Naruto? And Naruto's like, yeah, you can't tell anyone else about this. And then everybody's like, oh, sure. And then let's just say, Shikamaru and Sasuke were shook in the back. They were like, oh god, I definitely don't want to tell nobody. He would kill us. And plus, his father would probably send lightning bolts at us, trying to kill us or something. And then he's like, yeah. And then Shikamaru said, and they said, and then he was like, I have nothing to be scared of. And then Shikamaru was like, this is a drag. I'm going back home. And Naruto said, well, bye, Shikamaru. And then everybody left except Michiko, and Michiko was talking to Naruto, saying, wait, how, you're a god? And Naruto kept saying, yeah. And she said, Naruto, are you serious? Are you god? Naruto said, yes, you could only tell Lord first and Lord third. You can tell your mom just because she's related to the Lord fourth. But if anybody else knows, then I will be targeted for my power. And And then he said, and that's definitely not good. I get targeted for my power. Everybody will try to go for me. And then plus, I'll probably be treated differently than other people because I'm a god. I don't want to be treated. I want to be treated normal. I don't want to be treated like the fourth Hokage, making people bow down to me. It's just not right. And she's like, well, he doesn't make them. They choose. And then he said, well, why didn't he tell them by now that they could stop bowing down? Why didn't he take, and then why he didn't take matters in his own hands and tell everybody to stop bowing down to him? Then I was like, yeah, anyways, I could probably go take you to my dad. And then he said, wait, really? And Naruto said, yeah. And they said, it's kind of dangerous though, but it won't hurt you that way. It won't hurt you that much. It will just hurt me if that thing that I was talking about happens. It's not that dangerous though. And then he was like, come on. And then he picked her, and then she got on his back, and then Naruto jumped off and said some magical words. And since she had a good memory, she remembered them. And he was kind of a weird guy. He was like, what if I say those words? Well, I put up the... And then he said, meet my dad, Zeus. And then Zeus was like, hi, nice to meet you. I heard my son has a crush on you. And then Naruto said, Dad, shut up. And then she started blushing. And then Naruto said, wait here for a second. They went up to the and said, Dad, can you be quiet? And he said, why? I thought you would tell her right now. Yeah, see, like a year or so. And I was gonna talk to some people for a girl that invited her girl for courage. And then he was like, what do you mean by looking for someone to help you with courage? Yeah, I can help you that. And then she heard all of this. But she was just over there buzzing. And then she's like, and you know I can hear you. And then Naruto was like, oh, sorry about that. And then he started questioning her. Dad. Okay. She already knows, so my mom will ask about tomorrow. He's like, that sounds a good son. But doesn't your mom need to know about her? She said, well, you know mom is on a mission right now. I said, yeah. Okay. And then he was like, well, I'll go ahead. And then he was like, well, how are we going to get her back home? It's late at night. And then Michiko heard her phone ring, and he was like, it won't work up here. And she's like, what do you mean? He said, that won't work up here. So he said, wait, buy that. And then he hurried up and grabbed her, and like he jumped down, and he was holding her with one hand, and like he grabbed on the balcony with one hand, put her on there, and then his hands was like slipping. And then he like got a grip again, and then put himself up. And then he was like, well, answer the phone multiple times. I'll just stay out here. And then on the phone, the Kakusta and Minato were like, hey, where are you? And she was like, well, I was talking to Naruto, and it's something that I need to tell you guys. And she said, why are you still there though? And he said, well, because I want to go meet Zeus. And he was like, Zeus? He said, well, Naruto is the son of Zeus. And then Minato was like, stop playing. He was like, no, it's Dad, it's real. I saw the proof and everything. Zeus were up there talking, and Zeus said when we were up there talking about it. And then he was like, you can even ask the Shikamaru and Neji. And then she was naming all the other people that were there. And then they were like, I believe you because you weren't the person alive, but that just seems crazy. And then she said, I thought it was too, but he actually showed me the proof. And then she was like, and then they were like, don't you like that boy? And then he was like, yeah. And then they were like, but can't he be dangerous? And then she was like, well, likes me as well, and I don't think he's dangerous. And then he said, but anyway, can I stay over here until the morning? And then Naruto heard this and was like, huh? And and then they said that it was okay. And then Naruto laid in his bed, and then Michiko came, and then he just turned around. And then Michiko was like, hey Naruto. And Naruto was like, yeah. And then he turned around. He was like, well, since you're God, can't you use like God powers and stuff? And what is here? And he was like, yeah, I can use God powers, but yeah, I can use God powers, but I have to be a bit younger. And she's like, okay. And then they went to sleep. The next morning, Naruto woke up, and he got dressed, and then he woke up and Michiko and said, come on, we gotta go do some training. And then he was like, you can train. And then he was like, hey, I could show you. I am gonna show you this because you already know. And then like she was up with getting dressed and stuff. And then she hopped on his back, and then he opened the door and locked his door. Then she saw him glowing up, and she was like, how doesn't this hurt me? He said, well, because I'm trying not to let the sparks touch you. And then he said, I'm trying to keep my stuff in check, and I'm trying to protect you, and I'm taking all the hits right now. She said, doesn't that hurt, Naruto? Naruto said, actually, no. I'm immune to lightning. My dad is Zeus after all. And she was like, that does make sense. Then Naruto speeded off at the speed of light. And he stopped right at the door and said, well, I have to go one more round, but come on, I have to go get Kakashi. And then he right up and went to Sasuke's house. He said, hey Sasuke, boy. And then Sasuke said, what are you talking about? And then Naruto just grabbed Sasuke by the shirt and then started running. And then Sasuke was like, hey, what is this for? And then Naruto dropped him right at Kakashi's door. Then Naruto knocked on his door that he repaid for, I would say. And then Kakashi was like, hey, are you guys here to train? Then he was like, yeah. And then they were like, oh, yeah, okay. And I'm a time skip a year later, and they're 11 or something. No, actually, I'm a time skip to the next day, and then Naruto knocks on Michiko's house, and he leaves a note on the door, and then he dashes off. And Kakashi opens the door and looks at the note and said, "From Naruto to Michiko," and then she had into Michiko, and Michiko's like, "What is this?" And she looked at it, and it said, "Meet me at the park, or eat your rock." It said, "Meet me at the park at 6." And she was like, and then she thought in her head, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I wonder what he meant." And then they went to the park, and Naruto was like, "Oh, hey, he was like, so, I came here to, say that you already know that I like you, and so, would you like to go out with me?" And then she said, "Yeah, but," and he said, "Yeah," and then Naruto said, "What do you mean, but?" And then she was, and then Naruto was like, "Yeah, okay." And then she was thinking in her head, like, "But you're a god, why would?" And then she was confused, but she didn't do nothing about it. And Naruto took her back home because she fell asleep. And Naruto knocked on the door and was like, "Can you help me?" And then and then Minato grabbed Michiko, and Naruto was like, "My back is finally free." And he was like, "Well, bye, he's like, "Well, bye, Minato, and meet me at training ground 7." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "What are you doing?" Naruto said, "Race me." And then Naruto closed the door so he wanted to see how fast he was. Then he zoomed. Then he was at his bed, like he got there that fast, and he lay down and he went to sleep. And the next morning he was pumped because he was about to race Minato. He was like, "Yes, I'm gonna beat Minato." And he would see, and everybody will see how fast I am. But I will not go full speed. I will only go. I won't go full speed, but I will go very fast. And he was like, "I can be right Kage speed." And he said, "Plus, I want to fight Minato as well." And then Minato was there at training round 6, and it was like paper and stuff that Naruto sent out. That Naruto, it said Naruto versus Minato, the race in the sparring match. And then everybody was like, they went there, and then they looked at it, and then they saw Minato and Naruto, and then they just saw Naruto and Minato posted right at the line where they start. And then let's just say Jiraiya said, "Well, hey, and then he was like, "Well, today, Naruto, my godson, and Minato will be racing." And then everyone started cheering, and then they said, and they would have a sparring match, just them two. And then if Naruto is the winner, he will be announced Kage level. And then everyone was like, Kage level? If this kid beats Minato, that is crazy. Then everybody saw Naruto started going up, and they were like, "Wait, look at that kid. What is wrong with him?" And then Minato got in the stands. He was like, "What is that, Naruto?" And Naruto said, "This is my god, speed." And then everybody was like, "Okay, 3, 2, 1, start." And then Naruto zoomed way faster than Minato at the speed of, he wasn't going to speed of light, let's just say sound, because sound is slower, like way slower, and like he was going at the speed of sound, and everybody still thought that he was really fast. And then let's just say he could go to speed faster than the speed of light, and he was like going really quick. He was like, and then he got to the finish line, and the only person who could keep up with him was Sasuke, because it was Sasuke and Minato, because let's just say Sasuke activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. No, his uh his third stage, the third Tomoe Sharingan, the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, and he could keep up with him. And he was like, "Wow, Naruto's fast." I couldn't even believe that he was this fast. I didn't even think he was this fast, even though he was a god. And then he was going god speed. Then he stopped, and then he was like, "Wait, Naruto, how are you so fast?" And Naruto said, "I'm just quick." And then he stopped there, and then Minato was like so far behind him. Minato was, "How is this kid so fast?" And then it was declared that Naruto was the winner, and that Minato, and then the sparring match was just gonna start, even though Minato was still running. Minato got to the finish line, and then they started having a sparring match. Naruto said, and he put his arms out like in a T-pose form, and he was like, "Dragon Barrage, carry me with you." And it was one dragon that was going straight for Naruto, and then a whole bunch are coming at Minato. Minato dodged 3 of them, but the other 2 hit him. Minato dodged 3 of them, but the other 3 hit him. And then the one that hit Naruto was going at Minato head on, while Naruto was got his katana blade out. And Minato didn't want to know what to do. Either dodge the dragon or get Naruto. He said dodge the dragon because it could probably mostly do more damage. And then he dodged the dragon, but he was wrong. And then Naruto said, "Lightning strike. This won't kill you, Minato." Then he hit Minato with the blade. It didn't slice him, but it electrocuted him so bad. And then Minato was like, "How was this?" He said, "Lightning bolt." And then a lightning bolt spawned in his hand, throwing like 2 of them at Minato. And Minato already got like kind of hit bad from that electrocution. He was kind of moving around like electrocuted. And then he got hit by one in his arm. He's like, "Ah!" And he flew back into a tree. Then it was in his arm, and then Minato was like, ah. And then he pulled it out, and he was like, ah, it's lightning, but works as like a stronger shuriken. And then his body started electrocuting more. He's like, it works as electrocuted. Well, as he was getting electrocuted. And then the other one, he died. He almost hit. He's nearly hit by it. Then Naruto did some hand signs. He slapped his hands together, and then Minato was like, he knows wood style. And then it wasn't wood style. It was lightning style, but it looked like wood style. And you know how like he could control it with his hands, and then like he controlled it with his hands, hit Minato, and then he said, I'm pretty sure I got, I don't know. And then he used deep force on him, and then Minato was like, ah. And then Minato hit a tree. He was like, and then Naruto said, Dragon Barrage. He said lightning style, Dragon Barrage. And then a whole bunch of dragons just came at Minato. Let's just say 50 of them hit him out of the 100. Because the rest of them, Minato dodged with his flame. He dodged. And then Minato was like, Naruto, you are intensely strong, but you cannot be stronger than this. And then he used the flying rage. Let's just say, I'm pretty sure that's what the move's called when he throw like the shuriken down and like teleport or whatever to him. I don't know. I forgot. I haven't watched Naruto in a while. No cap. He teleported it to one that landed to Naruto. Naruto dodged, and then Naruto used the Shidori, hitting Minato back, and Minato falling, and about to hit a tree. Then Minato bounced back off, hitting Naruto in the stomach with a very, 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 very hard Shidori. I mean, not Shidori, but Sengan. It sent Naruto up in the air. And then Naruto said, Dragon, he said, lightning style, dragon ride. And then a dragon appeared from below him. And then he got on the dragon. And Naruto said, ha, I just mastered this last night. And then he went down. And everybody was like, this kid is, oh my god. Everyone was like, this kid is so strong. And then he went down. And then Minato dodged. Then Naruto wanted to wait. And then he kept dodging. Then Minato wasn't expecting this. Naruto threw his blade at him. And then Minato was like, ha, I have your blade now. And he got electrocuted. And then he was like, still getting electrocuted. Then Naruto rammed him with his dragon. And then the dragon disappeared. And then Minato fell, acting like he was knocked out. And then right when Naruto bent down, grabbing his katana, he tripped Naruto doing like a 360 spin, and then Naruto said Shidori. Then he boom hit then Naruto hit Minato with it, pitting him and making a creative, pitting him, and then actually knocking him out. Then Naruto was declared the winner in that he was Kage level. Then several hours later, let's just say Kakushina, Michiko, Sasuke, and Naruto were waiting for Minato to get up. And then when Minato got up, he was like, oh, what happened? And then he remembered everything. He was like, hey, Naruto, how are you so strong? He said, you know, and then they were like, oh, yeah, because of that. He said, well, why do you use lightning? I was like, well, don't you know that as well? And they were like, I kind of forgot. And then I was like, well, I'm the son of Zeus. And then he was like, oh, yeah. And then he was like, wait, son of Zeus? He was like, yeah. He said, what is that? He said, I heard that the Sage of Six Paths and Kaguya were friends with Zeus. He said, well, the Sage of Six Paths is not so bad. And Kaguya, I know her, and, well, they said, you know her? He said, no, I didn't mean like that. He said, Well, yeah, I kind of do know her. She's kind of like my auntie. He was like, wait, what do you mean? He was like, well, I call her my auntie, but she's just a friend of my dad's, my father's. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, well, she's technically a god too. And he's like, yeah, but she doesn't live in the god realm with us. And they were in the hospital talking about this, and nobody was around, so nobody could hear it. And then Naruto, he went back home, laid down, and was like, I'm kind of hungry. And he's like, I should go get some ramen. He was opening the door, and when he opened it, it was a guy standing. There. He was like, hello. He said, hello, Naruto. Would you like to join my team? He was like, get out of my face. I don't know who you are. Then he got kind of skeptical about it. He put out his katana blade, tried to slice him, but it went straight through him. He was like, jumped back. It was like, what is going on? And then let's just say it was Obito, I'm gonna say. And Obito was like, join our side. You are strong, kid. And he said, no, get away from me. I am a god. And then Naruto said, even though that you're trying to be invincible, you're not. And he said, I have the perfect thing for you. Then he grabbed some lightning katana and said, then he picked the lightning katana right in front of him. And then he was like, Then he was like, what are you doing? And he said, I don't even care. Touch it. And he was like, I will take your blade. And he was like, but, And then he picked up his blade and he started getting electrocuted. And then he came full form. Then Naruto punched him, knocking him out of his stomach. He ran up and ran to the Hokage's to Minato's house, knocked on the door. It was like, hey Minato, I found somebody. And then Minato was like, who is this? Then he took off the mask and he saw it was Obito. He's like, oh. He said, this looks like Obito. And then a tear dropped in his face. He was like, where did you find him? He said, whoa, he was in front of my apartment building. He was talking about joining his side. And he's joining his side, you say. He was like, joining his side. He was like, joining. He was like, and then it hit him. He was like, what did he mean by joining his side? And then it hit him. Is he possibly formed a bad alliance? He's like, well, what is it? He said, he was trying to form a team with me, but I kept declining, and I think you should go take him to prison for a couple of days and interrogate him. And Minato said, yeah, that should be a good idea. And if he is, you can either try to convince him to come on our side, or he has to be executed. And then Minato said, yeah, I know Naruto. And then Kikushina came to the door, and Kikushina was like, what's going on, Naruto? And then, what's going on, Minato? And Minato said, it's Obito. And let's just say, even though let's just say like Naruto was young, and like Naruto was still young and stuff, but let's just say he was like Kage level, and like dang, I'm off on yo. That just I just banged my leg hard as ever, bro. Broke my kneecap. I think I broke my kneecap. That junk hurt no count. But yeah, he was like Ambu level / Kage level. And let's just say he was pronounced Silverhead Ambu like a Kakashi, but he was pronounced it at 11, which made him better than Kakashi because Kakashi was announced at 12. Naruto would have been announced at 10 if he would have fought Minato early. But he was about the same level as he always was, so he was basically already Kage level, but now he's way stronger. And let's just say Minato was getting old, and he was thinking about making Naruto the Hokage, but he waited because he was making Tsunade the 5th Hokage, because Naruto's still young, and by the time he was about 15 or 16, he would be a Naruto Hokage. And then Minato was like, "Thank you, Naruto." And Naruto said, "No problem." And then Minato took him to the place, and then he got some ambu, and then some other people to interrogate him. And then he tried to convince them. Then Minato said, "I gotta go get Kakashi." And he was like, and then when Kakashi walked in, he was like, "Obito, and Obito was like, you know what I'm here for," he said. And then he was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well," and then he was like, Minato was like, "Wait, Obito, join our side." And then Obito was like, "Well, hi." He was like, "Please, Obito." And then Kakashi was like, "Please, Obito, join our side." And Obito was like, "Why should I?" And he was like, "Well, because we have one of the strongest kids on the team. And if you turn on him, he can kill you. And then plus, it will do you no good if you do dirty work." And he said, "I will stay here because this is interesting." He was like, "What do you mean stay here?" I said, "Nothing. I'll stay here." And he said, and he was like, "But who are you working for?" He said, "I cannot say." He said, "Come on, Obito, tell us." And then Minato was like, "Wait." And then he was getting a call by Naruto, and Naruto said, "How's it going?" He said, he's not talking. And then Naruto said, "I'll be right there." And Naruto body flipped over there, and he started interrogating him. And Obito said, and he put up his katana. Then Naruto put his katana up to his neck and said, "I will charge you with a blast. Then I will cut your head off." And then he said, and then Obito said, "Well, then I will be no good." And he said, "But you'll still be dead. So tell us who you work for." He said, "If I don't tell you, you'll kill me, and you won't know who I work for." He's like, "Yeah, you're smart, smarter than you look." He said, and then Kakashi said, "Why are you doing this, Obito?" He said, "Well, I wouldn't have done this if you kept your promise." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, about Ren." He was like, "Ren?" And then he thought about it. He's like, "No, Obito, I couldn't save her. She did it on her own." And he was like, yeah, Kakashi, blah blah all you want." And he's like, "Wait." And then everybody was like, "Wait." And then Minato and Kakashi were like, "Wait, how did you live?" And he said, "Well, the person I work for came and saved me. I honestly don't know why. But that's why I work for him now." He said, "And plus, that boulder is so weak." He said, "Weak, huh, Obito? So you could have broke out of the boulder, you're saying." And Kakashi said, "Okay, Obito, tell us now." And then Naruto was slicing, and then as he was slicing, he said, then Obito said, "Madara, Uchiha." And then everyone said, "Madara's dead though." And he was like, "That's what you fools think, but he's not. And he's perfectly alive. You know the Nine Tails attack? And that was merely Madara and me. But I will not, I will not say." And he's like, "Well, since I was Madara and you, why are you doing this though?" And then he's like, "Well, me and Madara want power over this world." And he was like, "We cannot do it with this god boy around. And then plus we work for our boss. And he's the god of the HEL realm. HELL realm." And then he was like, then that was Naruto was doing. He was, "Oh, so you know him? He said that he was related to one of the gods." And then he was like, "Wait, Naruto, you know what he's talking about?" And Naruto ran out of him. I was like, "No, he can't be." And he was running, going back home. Minato was chasing after him, and he caught up to him. He said, "Wait, you know what?" He said, "Yeah, I have to think about it." And then he went home. The next day, Obito told them everything, and Obito joined their side. And yeah, this is where I'm gonna end it off. I think it was long enough, but sorry for ending it off like this, but I gave y'all a long episode today. So peace.